Well, now we know. It's absolutely official. What about capping and trading on the New Jersey budget? We do have to cap an awful lot of things. The needs are so great in many places. But even Barbara Bono spoke out and said we have to really look very hard at even the hardest cases.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is that there are some agencies that probably, see, you don't want to have, you know, straight 10% cut, 15% cut.
Across the board, we don't want that.
Across the board
yeah.
is not the best way to do it. I think each and every department, each and every agency needs to be looked at carefully, and especially, you know, when you are in an economic downturn, you want to really create incentives and try to grow the business, so that way you create jobs, and so in turn you will have the revenues coming from that. If there are agencies that are not producing any revenue, rather they're taking a lot of revenues, and so you need to really balance that out.
So you can foresee places that might be ripe for cuts.
Right,
Yes.
I think so. I think so. For example, there are some agencies, there may be too many because of the regulations. I think one of the things that stands out when Governor-elect Christie talks about is that we want to go back and look at the regulatory environment and see how we can make that permitting process quicker by eliminating some regulations. I think that's where you need to look at. Some regulations are outdated and some of them are not being enforced. So what we need to do is that we need to see, it's like a house cleaning. We need to do a spring house cleaning.
Very often regulations are imposed by the Department of Environmental Protection. And so they've already been hit with a lot of job cuts. And so it's even harder for them to do their job. So who will do this overview on regulations?
I think, you know, of course it's up to the governor. I think we have actually there is what is known as a Regulatory Flexibility Act, which is comes from Washington. That's the state law. As part of that, one of the things that's required is that you need to, each agency, before they pass a regulation, they need to do an economic impact analysis. Right now, the agencies are not doing the economic impact, and it is hurting the small businesses. So I have put in a legislation called Regulatory Flexibility Act, which is a way whereby the businesses, small businesses, right now they can only go to the legal sources, which is going to cost them a lot of money. But under this legislation, they can challenge the economic impact analysis study that was done, not so much the regulation. I think that type of approach that needs to be taken, so that way you need to look at each and every regulation. Is it absolutely necessary? How is it helping the environment? How is it helping the economy? All those things have to be balanced. And as far as the DEP is concerned, I mean, I think the state agencies need to come up with more automation. Right now, they're way behind in terms of use of technology. They're not, their processes. I mean, I spend a lot of time in process improvement, process definitions, and I don't think they're way behind.
It was like a few years ago when we found out that the IRS wasn't fully computerized.
Right.
Who could believe that?
That's right. I mean, still, I mean, there are so many agencies at the national level that one agency doesn't talk to another agency.
Yes.
And so there is so much of duplication and redundancy, and that can be avoided by having information sharing, so that way you can make it much faster.
Where is your bill now?
Well, it has passed the Assembly for the last 4 sessions. It also passed this session also. It went through the Senate committee. Senator Lesniak passed it, and it's up to Senator Cody, Senate President Cody, to pass it, post it for the the full Senate floor. And hopefully Governor Corzine supports it. I think it is right there, and the Governor-elect Chris Christie should step in and make sure that happens.
It's certainly the topic of the day, isn't it?
That's
Regulation and taxes. Now, how do you feel about taxes on corporations and businesses? That's the other side of it. Are we overtaxing them in this regulatory environment?
I think so. I think so. We need to think about, you know, I think we have to dwell on the principle that there should be a fair way of collecting taxes, fair way of putting the taxes. And if corporations are overburdened, they can easily shift their operations to other states. And this is what we need to realize as legislators, as elected officials, that we need to figure out a way to make it easier for them to do business, and also trying to see how we can encourage them to create jobs, so that way there's less taxation is going to help that.
It sounds like you're very much on the same page then as with many Republicans and the governor-elect too.
I think it is a common sense. I mean, it's not about Democrat or being Republican. That's not the issue here. The issue here is that the most number of jobs are created by private sector, private companies. So if you tax them and they have easily can shift their business to other states, also in an internet economy, they don't have to be even resident in the state. They can stay out of the state most of the time, and then they don't have to pay the New Jersey taxes. So we need to be smart about it. It's not about partisanship.
There probably will be issues, though, where Democrats and Republicans are not weighing in on the same page. And then it will go to the governor if, say, a bill is passed, because the Democrats still have a majority. But he has the veto power now, and he also has line item veto for the budget items. So you really kind of need each other, because the Democrats don't have a supermajority. They don't have the 2/3 majority to override a veto.
But you have to understand that the budget that is proposed by the governor comes to the legislature, and it already has a lot of cuts, and adding something is always going to be difficult. Even whether it's a governor, is a Democrat or a Republican, we had the same problem. All will be able to do is to shift them around a little bit, and that's what we're going to be doing. And as long as we stay within the budget that is proposed by the governor, I don't think there should not be any problem. Of course, the priorities are going to be different, and I don't think the governor-elect is going to be able to do that much different, because there is only so much you can do in terms of moving things around.
Well, he's already talking to the municipalities. He's kind of sent a message to them, telegraphed that shared services consolidation are high on his list, as well as tightening of belts at the local level. You were a mayor. Did you feel that there was a lot that municipalities can do, still do?
Yeah, I think, if you're going back to the shared services, I think it was under Governor Christie Todd Whitman. We had ready, REAP grants and all the things. They were not really that effective in terms of people who are not using that. And last few years in the legislature, we really, under the leadership of Speaker Roberts, we pushed for shared services quite a bit. And how do you do that? In the sense that the home rule is a major issue, and if we can really address the issue, and I want to definitely I will work with Governor-elect, so that way home rule is the key issue here. Every municipality, every school district, they want to be different, and if you continue to do the same thing and do something different, it's not going to yield different results. I think what we need to do is the balance is that we can maintain individuality of the school districts and the municipalities, but overall administration should be combined.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that when we take a break. We'll talk about that and many other things on your agenda, regulations included. Okay. Don't go away.